Stephanie Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about my 2023 year, my lessons, a lot of the things that I learned and moved through throughout the year, as well as launches, some of my goals, whether or not I hit my revenue goals. And yeah, this is going to be it's going to feel kind of like an evaluation of my year and how things went in my business. And I just want this to be an episode that you all really learn from. I want it to be an episode where you listen to and you are able to either take notes or apply something, or maybe just feel a little bit more certain in where you are right now in your business. Because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, especially if we don't have a team yet or we're not in communities with other entrepreneurs, it can just feel really lonely, and it can start to be like, am I doing this thing right? Am I on the right path? Is what I'm doing like the right things that I should be doing? And obviously there isn't a right way. But I think sometimes hearing the back ends and hearing financials and different things from other entrepreneurs can be really helpful to just remind you not just what's possible, but also, where you are is also where other people are as well. So let's get into it. All right. So 2023 was the year that I really focused on launching. So I'd been launching here and there in my business, in 2020 when I started. I it wasn't really so much launches as it was just me. I guess you could call it launches, but it was more like me announcing things and doing tons of sales calls to funnel people into programs. And that was mainly one-on-ones. And then I did group programs. So after doing lots and lots of one-on-ones and lots of group programs the same 8-week group program that I ran over and over and over again ended up being the process I built for Business Activation Academy. And that's something I really recommend is if you do eventually want to build out a course, a program, some type of curriculum offer, it's really a great idea to run it through group programs or one-on-ones, just so you can continue to build up what you really want that course or program to look like. And then it gives you a little bit more time to beta test it and troubleshoot and really get the desired results. So before BAA became BAA, it was a group program curriculum. It was a one-on-one program curriculum based on what my students most needed support with. So, still getting over a cold, so I might cough a little bit. All right. So I really wanted to focus on launching because I'm in the throes of scaling my business, and I have been for a while, and it's just a season of my business that I am in. Okay. It's going to look a little different for each person, and it's also going to happen at different times for each person. So I don't want to just say typically when you talk about scaling, you are, you're going from like, let's say you're going from like multi six figures to $1 million, right? Of sales revenue, And you're looking to position yourself a little bit differently in terms of your offers. So for me, when I think about scaling, I think about the ways in which I can serve people one-on-one, and I can only do so many one-on-ones. I want to be able to serve people in greater capacities, which is the reason why I created Business Activation Academy, and then later on Magic Mind, which is my business mastermind. So, my goal with Business Activation Academy and my Magic Mind Mastermind is I want to be able to have opportunities where I'm serving my students in a greater capacity, focus on groups versus one to one work. And that's how I see my business expanding in the future is more group work. And then if I do have one-on-ones, then they're a little bit more, I might open up like 2 spots available for the entire year. So that's my intentions with my offers at the moment. And this year I did 2 live events in the Bay Area connected to my mastermind. I also did some fun random things. I did like a painting and Reiki event. I did multiple speaking opportunities. I was a keynote speaker multiple times. I was asked to be on as a guest expert. One of the speakers on panels, things like that in the Bay Area, San Francisco, which San Jose, Oakland, which was amazing. That was so much fun and a really, really great opportunity for visibility and also for connecting with people in person, which is something I really love. And in 2024, that's something I would love to bring more into the, Bay Area space is more live events. That's not going to be a primary offer that I have as part of my business. I really want to focus on BAA and Magic Mind. However, I do want to sprinkle in some live events. However, they might look, maybe it's like one type of event that I run, over and over, or it's a little bit more intuitive based on what feels right for the season, maybe one each quarter, something like that. I'm still feeling into that as I plan out 2024. So if you're in the Bay Area, definitely, reach out to me so that I have you on my radar. I would love to connect with more people in person and build a deeper community here in the Bay Area where I see myself living for probably another decade. Okay. So that's really what my goals were for 2023. I really wanted to get good at launching. I wanted to get really good at just launching BAA and then launching Magic Mind and then launching BAA and then launching Magic Mind. Business Activation Academy is my foundational course. It's an evergreen course, meaning anyone can sign up and get access any day of the year. I do launches for it because not because it's only open during those launch times, but because as an evergreen offer, you kind of always have to be talking about it. And yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier to build exposure for BAA when I'm doing launches. So I launch it as if it's only open, a couple times a year, but you can register at any time and get access to the course portal and the coaching calls at literally any time. So that is that. That's Business Activation Academy. That is designed for newer coaches, service providers, people who are at square one of either quitting their job or desiring to quit their job and wanting to build a coaching business and get it off the ground. So everything from deciding what you want to coach on to designing your first offer to marketing and selling and the energetics of it. BAA is a really great place to learn all of that. And I also have live coaching calls in there as well. So that means every twice a month, every single month, you get live coaching from me and you get to implement that together. We get to customize, your marketing strategy, sales plan, different processes, coach on energetics, mindset, everything is included. And then Magic Mind is my advanced business container for coaches, service providers, and healers. And it is more of a cohort It is a cohort group that I run for 6 months at a time, and that is really designed for spirit-led coaches to grow to 6 figures and multi six figures with the energetics, the strategy, and an amazing community. All right, so let's talk about the lessons I learned throughout 2023. So, number one, this is probably my biggest lesson I learned, is there's no secret to selling. And what I mean by that is there's no secret strategy that someone has that you don't. There's no secret action that someone is taking that you don't know about, that if you just apply it, then you'll suddenly have this massive amount of sales as well. The secret isn't email lists. The secret isn't Instagram. The secret aren't webinars. The secret is not creating courses. The secret is not memberships. It's about selling from your frequency and learning how to be in complete alignment with your work and your movement. A lot of that happens very naturally, but it's not about selling in a way that's like specifically following somebody's formula. Okay. I spent a lot of my business thinking, and I go way deeper. I get very, very vulnerable about a launch that was failing, and how I turned it around in the previous episode. So 2 episodes back, go and listen to that. It's a really, really good, it's a very vulnerable episode on some of my thoughts and my fears and some of my fears coming to life and just how I navigated that and a failing launch and completely, just turn that ship around. And one of the things I shared was, I would hire mentors from this place of feeling like they knew something that I didn't. And this ended up being a detriment to my own success because there is a way in which I sell that is aligned to me and my frequency. And when I say the word frequency, and I use it so often that sometimes I forget to like explain it, but when I use the word frequency, I really mean like you, your magic, your magnetism, what makes you you, right? Like your quirkiness and your personality and your deepest energy to the core of who you are. We all have a unique frequency. There's a reason that you go to one of your friends when you're going through a breakup versus you go to another friend for a amazing pep talk before you go into a job interview, right? There's a frequency that your parents have. There's a frequency they have that's different from one another. There's frequencies that your siblings have that are different from one another and different from you. You hold a specific frequency that allows you to feel drawn to certain things and repelled by certain things. So there are certain things that you love and light you up and make you feel alive and create this beautiful passion within you that swirls within you. And then there are certain things that you think of doing and you're like, absolutely not. I would literally rather die. So this is all frequency. Everything has frequency. Everything is vibration. Everything, if you study it close enough under a microscope, is vibrating at a certain frequency. So when people say things and we talk about manifestation in terms of aligning yourself to certain frequencies and aligning yourself to a specific vibration, it just means you are getting into alignment with the vibration of that thing. So for example, if you're attracting 10K, you have to step into alignment with 10K. It doesn't mean that you turn into $10,000 USD. It means that you release any limiting beliefs you have around money and around attracting money and around selling. You shift from a broke person identity into someone who is able to receive $10,000 and feel worthy of it, right? So it's about identity work. It's about shifting. It's about revealing shadows. But at the end of the day, you have a specific frequency in which people desire to work with you for, right? You have a specific authenticity that is so true. Truth is the highest frequency, it's the highest vibration. So when you are in your truth, when you are your most authentic self, like you are expressing yourself, you're in your fullest expression, you're expressing yourself in all of the ways that you once thought would never get you hired, or no one would ever ask you on a date, or You would never be successful. All the things that you once thought about yourself, because society loves to create homogeny, society loves to create everyone does the same thing and acts the same and looks the same, et cetera, right? So the people who are the black sheeps are typically the ones who become entrepreneurs. You're likely the black sheep of your family. And that's your power. Nobody is you, and that is your power. Right. So selling from your frequency and not trying to sound like your coach, your mentor, or anyone else who you think has some type of secret sauce. Like, you are the fucking secret sauce. It's you. There's nobody else. Tap into your frequency, tap into your powers. That's one of the biggest lessons that I learned that I want to impart on every single person. And it's funny because I've been saying this for so long and I still struggle with it. I still struggle with stepping into my power fully. And sometimes I still hire, not anymore moving forward, but I have in the past hired coaches and mentors from a, not fully, but subconsciously a little bit of a wounded space of like, oh, well, there's got to be something that they're teaching that I don't know about. And then I would enter these programs and go, I could have done this. Like, I could have recorded this. Like, I know this. I know all of this, right? And so I've seen time and time again that there's so much that I know, and there's so much that I already embody. And it's just a matter of fully embodying the person I want to become and trusting myself. That's always been the lesson. And that's the lesson for most entrepreneurs, is trusting yourself, right? Even when you hire mentorship, even when you hire coaches, and even when you work within programs and communities, it's not about trying to be like the leader and like the person around you, right? It's about tapping into the version of you that makes you you. And that's something I'm so proud of in creating in both of my programs, but specifically in my mastermind, where it isn't just a one size fits all strategy that I teach. I really cater and tailor the strategies and the energetics to each individual student based on what they need and their vision and their lifestyle and their goals, because that varies from person to person. And something I would tell one student may not be the best advice or the best coaching I could give to another student, right? So that's really the beauty of being in a mastermind, and being in a mastermind with me as your coach is I'm not just going to give everyone a blanket strategy and a blanket, everyone go and do this and everyone's going to get the same result. It doesn't work that way, because we all have different energetic coding. We all have a different energetic blueprint and ways of working and thinking and making decisions. And, I have ADHD. I grew up in an education system that didn't serve me. And it was really hard. And it honestly made me feel like there was always something wrong with me, that I could just never be smart enough or good enough, or, be able to take tests like everybody else, or remember things like everyone else, or focus like everyone else. And so I, in my own business, have had to create ways of working with my ADHD in order to get things done and not just wait till the last minute, waiting until there's like enough dopamine for me to take action. Really learning. And of course, that's still something that I navigate. I still navigate that. It's not mastered. It's a work in progress, as it probably is always going to be, right? This is my brain. This is the way that I work and think and apply myself. And so yeah, that's something that's really, really big. And I mean, it's 2024. We've seen people with like super fancy funnels. We've seen people with just one offer that sells. We've seen people with multiple offers that sell. We've seen people who are digital nomads that travel the world and sell. We see people who are extremely flowy and spiritual and they sell. We've seen everyone in between, bro marketers and those who love strategy and those who have very little strategy, they all sell. Right? It all works. It all works. All strategies. I believe that pretty much all of the strategies out there, they work. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line, the common denominator is you. It's you and your frequency, right? So if you're tapped into your frequency and you're tapped into what you want to create with your mission and your movement, then that is the most important thing, right? And there's so many ways to sell, but how do you want to sell? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to build connections? Because it's not just selling, it's new people entering your world. It's new souls that you get to serve, that get to be a part of your universe. How do you want to set the tone for that? I know that I don't want to be the coach that is forcing potential clients to make decisions or forcing them to, pressuring them to be a part of my programs, right? I am a huge advocate for sovereignty and autonomy, especially within the coaching space. And so, if that's what I teach within my containers, and I teach them how to sell that way because I'm a business coach and I honor each one of their unique energy when I'm coaching them, then how contradicting would it be if on sales calls I was pressuring and pushing people to make a decision right then and there, right? And there's a difference between a manipulative, sleazy, like, you got to make this decision because it's going to mean something about me, versus challenging someone to make the best decision for themselves, which I will do on sales calls, which I really only do for Magic Mind anyway. I really don't do sales calls that often. But if I were to be on a sales call, or if I am having a sales conversation, it is very much like, here's how this could be the best thing for you. And I'm going to challenge you. And, if I feel like you're copping out, or if I feel like, you want to do this and yet, you're unsure, like, obviously I'm not ever going to force anyone to do anything, but I'm going to make a valid case for why this is going to make a really big difference in your business, and exactly how we can work together, what the plan is going to look like, and how I plan to coach you and hold that space for you. And then I'm going to essentially lay it out for you and see, do you want to do this together with me? And if it's a yes, then we go and do it together, right? That's how I want to sell. I always want to sell from my highest level of sovereignty, because that's also how I enjoy being sold to. So that's number one, is there's no secret to selling. Like, and I teach selling, and I teach the energetics of selling, and I teach like sacred selling, right? Sacred sales. And there's just so much to say about that and the energetics of it. But even in my teachings, I'm not ever propositioning that I know something about selling that's going to open the floodgates for you, other than you tapping into yourself, right? So everything I teach has to do with how to tap into your own energy, your own frequency, and become in full alignment with your work. My strategy, and of course, there's strategy. I don't even separate like the energetics and strategy. It's just energetic strategy. But even when I'm talking about like, here are some actions you can take, here are some things that I do behind the scenes, here are some of my either systems or, specific actions and structures, whatever, right? Like, even if I'm breaking that down, it's still rooted in a place of autonomy and really upholding my values as a CEO, and as a business owner and a business coach. Okay, so let's move into number two. And number two is managing your mind. Really, really, really learning to manage your mind and getting your mindset on board to really like skyrocket your goals. The first time that you sit down and think about your goals might feel crazy, right? You might have to work on building the belief so hard. I love the word building because it's a progression. It your mind is expanding, and when you surround yourself with other business owners that talk about cash wins and talk about huge revenue months and incredible results in their business, it just seems more and more probable, and you feel closer and closer to it because it's just the conversations that you're constantly surrounding yourself with, right? And this is something that's got ongoing work. It's not something you just set once and you have on all the time, like a heater, right? You have a human brain, and some days it's going to feel harder, and some days it's going to feel easier. Your beliefs and your mindset is gonna kind of flow in waves. But it does get easier and easier and easier the more you create a practice and a devotion to this, right? To what you want to believe, to your mindset, to keeping up with the maintenance of it, your beliefs, your identities, to really, really shift it. I really believe that my business development and my business progression is tied to my own personal and spiritual development. Like if I just stopped everything that I was doing and all of my own internal work and the work I was doing on my own and working on myself and the inner healing, I feel like my business would reflect that, right? Especially as a spiritual business owner, I've taken up that I was going to say like that vow. But to me it kind of feels that way. I feel like I have decided to take on a vow like devotion to my work and my movement just because the way I see it is way beyond my business. It isn't just the business that I have right now where I'm currently offering these two main programs and I'm call myself the business activation coach, right? It's I see myself and my movement go way beyond this business. I might create more businesses down the line. I might be more well known for books that I author, more books that I author. I already have two published ones. Um, but more of them down the road, right, that are focused on business or maybe a memoir or whatever. My identity in the public facing world might shift over time, or maybe I become really well known for a conference that I create, or something along those lines, right? Still, there's so much. I don't know how that's going to pan out in the future, but that's something that I continue to think about over and over. And when I talk about shifting your mindset and managing your mind, it really more so has to do with the way that you bring yourself back to your why and your movement and the person that you desire to be over and over and over again. It isn't if, it's when. When your brain has a freak out, when you start spiraling, when something goes wrong in your business, and you suddenly are questioning things you didn't think that you needed to question, or things that you didn't think would happen, like clients leaving or employees leaving or multiple employees leaving at the same time, or a failed launch or a near failed launch or a launch that you thought was going really well and then takes a dive, right? There's so many things that you can't anticipate. It's much like motherhood. There's so many things that you can't anticipate because it's a business and it runs on sales and people, and there are just so many ways in which your business is going to feel unpredictable and it's gonna fuck with your nervous system. And so, not just managing your mind, but managing and maintaining and taking care of your body, your central nervous system, your spirit, your soul, taking time away, right? All of this is really important in building your business, or else it's like a one-way street to burning out and hustling yourself into the ground and losing sleep, losing your health. It's just not worth it. And so one of the best things that you can do and continue to do and um continue to rise, right? You want this to continue getting better and better. Like this year, I want to manage my mind better than I did last year, right? It's not a competition. It's not, you know, I'm only doing it because I want to continue expanding my capacity and expanding my ability to receive more and to be able to do more and to be able to handle more, because that's what's going to happen when eventually I make $1 million a year, right? That's what I'm manifesting, not this year, unless that's, in the cards from the universe, but eventually I want to get there, right? The version of me that's making $1 million a year, oh my God, can't even imagine. That's just like, yeah, that has to take a level of me that I am just, quite frankly, I am not there yet. Okay, I'm not there yet. And I honestly, that is a shift. That is a shift. And just thinking of that makes me feel like I'm not prepared, I'm not ready, I'm not there yet, right? Which is honestly why I'm not setting intentions for that this year or even next year. I want it to feel like a natural progression, and I want to be able to be ready for it because $1 million a year also means, tons of new students coming in and needing the infrastructure and the systems and the structures, and the team and my mindset as the CEO, as the visionary, to be able to hold all of that, right? So that's why I always like to tell my students we are an energetic match for what we get, right? So currently I'm making, the most I've made was 300K in a year. In 2023, I made I made 200 something K. And that's what I'm a match for right now. And I'm really proud of that. I love that. Making 200K is amazing. This is a really proud moment for me, especially coming from being a broke, struggling, someone who relied on food stamps, someone who's always broke, someone who always just like had a bank account in the negatives. Like the most I ever made was 30K. 200K was a lot of money, right? I think I ended the year at, let's see. I just did my finances as well. It was $226,319 and 64 cents. So, yeah. And what's crazy is, the year before, and I'm just going by calendar year. I haven't broken down like, because I started my business in April. So I typically try to do like April to April. But we haven't ended up at April yet. So I'm just doing January to December 2023, just in case anyone's wondering, which I don't think anyone is. I ended up making a little bit less than I did last year. And the reason I'm more proud of myself this year, or maybe not more proud, but the reason I'm still really, really proud, actually, I would say I'm more proud this year because this year I really took away one-on-ones. I took away mini courses and mini offers to focus on launching my two main programs. So the only things I launched this year was BAA and Magic Mind over and over and over and over again. And that's something I'd never done before. I'd relied on one-on-ones. I relied on, there were so many like littler services that I would kind of sprinkle out throughout the year that it wasn't bad. It's not, it's if anyone's doing that, and I'm gonna bring back mini courses and things like that, of course. My intention was just to get really good at launching. So I hyper focused on launching this year. So I intended to make less money because I'm focusing on launching, which you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of leeway each time you're launching a new offer or you're doing something new in your business. You can't just expect it to immediately do amazingly well. I mean, you can. I love to be a very, very optimistic person, and I am very filled with abundance in my business. I mean, everything I've created is very logic defying. But what I mean by that is I don't want to bank and just like, in case like my team needs to be paid, and in case, certain things need to happen, like I don't want to just expect that it's going to be exactly like it was last year while doing completely different things. Does that make sense? So when I went into this year, when I went into 2023, I really just assumed, okay, this is going to be more of a growth year for me. Like I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to experience a lot. I'm going to, I'm really going to grow as a entrepreneur. I'm going to grow as the visionary of this company, and I'm going to get exactly what I need in order to scale even further. So I wouldn't be surprised if 2024 is, you know, um, either double the revenue, or, is maybe even just a little bit more than I made last year, but is more effortless, right? So that's really the way I wanted to look at it. I am so proud of myself for creating $200,000, right? Almost $230,000 just from launching and just from doing something that I had never done consistently in my business, which is like full on live launches, right? So that means like I have a hype event, I have emails that go out that I write out beforehand, I have a cart open, I have a cart close. I did that almost every single month in 2023. Maybe not maybe like every other month I was launching either BAA or Magic Mind. And something I want to start adding in are funnels, which I've never really played around with other than like, like some email sequences that I wouldn't even call funnels. I would love to create a funnel that leads to BAA. And, I'm starting to play with ads a little bit. So if you've been seeing my ads, that's amazing. So I've been starting to play around with that a little bit. And of course, ads also are another thing that take a little while to start performing because you have to figure out who is, the audience that works the best, and a lot of like ad speak that I'm letting my ad manager take care of. So that is that's my long-winded spiel on managing your mind and my revenue for 2023. And sometimes you have to have these growth years in your business where you take the time to learn and absorb and evolve as a person spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Sometimes there are things that knock you down specifically to teach you how to get back up the next 20 times, right? And then you're able to experience the growth. And when you do experience the growth and when you do experience that evolution, you're able to receive it and hold it, right? So now when I do eventually make 400K a year, 500K a year, 600K a year, going up to eventually $1 million a year, I will know how to navigate that and how to handle that and how to have the right team for that and all of the things. So I think that's an important thing to mention. And yeah, I think that's it for the second one. So we've gone over number one, there's no secret to selling. You are the secret. Number two, learn to manage your mind and continue learning how to maintain this mind management. And then number three, get at the table. Get a seat at the table, get yourself a coach or a mentor. Their cheat codes. Be in a community where you are growing together and where you don't feel alone. I I definitely have attributed so much of my success to my business investments into the coaches and the mentors that have gotten me to where I am now, and I'm not going to stop. I've been in 3 masterminds so far. I've paid 20K, another 20K, and then 25K. I am looking to join another mastermind within 2024. I have worked one-on-one with coaches. I have been in group programs. I've bought programs, courses based on what I most want to learn. I think moving forward, most of what I will be a part of are high-level masterminds with people who are at the seven-figure range or multi six-figure range or even multi seven-figure range, people who are either around where I am in business or they're ahead of me, which makes me even more excited because then I get to learn from them, right? Just being in close proximity with someone who has a more expanded mindset, someone who's created more in their business, someone who has a mindset that's further along, their business is further along, especially when I'm choosing a mentor, not just the business, but their lifestyle. Are they living the life that I would want to live, right? Are they like always working and never have any time off? Or are they actually able to go on vacation without their laptop? Are they able to, spend quality time with their family and their kids? I eventually want freedom and I want a business that's going to bring me freedom. So I'm not going to work with someone who is promoting hustle culture and is working all the time and working Monday to Friday. I really want a more flexible, free schedule and lifestyle. And I think that's a big reason why my students choose to work with me is because that's something that I talk about a lot as well. So, um, getting at the table, getting a seat at the table, like, yes, you can figure it out on your own. Yes, you can probably get to where you want, but why wouldn't you want to work with someone who has already gone before you and someone who's essentially guiding you, not necessarily to do exactly what they've done? I don't hire coaches like that. I don't wanna be like my coaches. I wanna be like me, right? And so when I work with my students, it's not, "Okay, here's everything I did, go and do it." No, I never do that. I work very closely with my students to help them to understand where they are. I wanna understand them deeply, especially the students that have worked, over and over with me. They continue to resign, they continue to re-up in my programs, right? BAA, you're, like, stuck with me. You're locked in because it's lifetime access. But I work with a lot of my students in a very long-term capacity, right? So I get to know them and their fears and their business and their vision and who they are and certain insecurities they have and certain things, certain fears that come up for them. They're scared to trust themselves. They're very resistant to certain things in their business that I might be aware of and able to call them out on. And that helps me to be a better coach because I'm able to spot these things right away and I'm able to offer the coaching that they need in order to step into the version of themselves that is the most successful and is the most expansive and is able to be the most abundant, right? And that's my job as a coach is to give them the coaching they need that turns them inward and helps them to listen to their inner guidance and helps them to create the vision that they foresee for themselves versus, "Oh, here's what I see everybody doing, and everyone in this container must build their business in this exact way." I don't believe in that unless it's a very specific type of thing. Like if I'm learning something that's very kind of structured, if it's like learning a specific system or a specific structure I might need in my business, a specific tech thing, where there really is kind of only one way and I'm maybe but I wouldn't even be the one going through the program. I would have like my online business manager do it. So there are so many ways in building your business, and what I really believe in is tapping into your own power and your own frequency in order to create that. So when you learn from someone, it's not to do things the way they did it. It is to sometimes for me, it's even just like being having access to someone's brain who is able to navigate things in such a high level way, right? One of my BAA students said to me the other day, like, I saw how your brain worked and I knew I wanted to be in close proximity to this girl's brain. And the way I would say it is she felt my frequency and she aligned to my frequency and she wanted to learn while being in my frequency, right? She used the words brain, I use the words frequency or magic, whatever. It's really the same thing. So when I choose a mentor, there is a certain person that I'll align to that they activate me. They act that I feel alive. I get off a coaching call with them and I feel like I could take on the world, right? My students feel like that when they get off calls with me. They get off a Magic Mind call and they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I'm so lit up. I'm going to do all these things. I'm so connected to my purpose, and this feels amazing." They're so fired up, right? Because I activate them. And I only work with students who I activate and they activate me, right? And that's really what selling from your frequency means. It means that I am an energetic match to them for whatever reason. Maybe they relate to my story or they feel like they can see themselves in me because I'm maybe an Asian American woman or I have ADHD or whatever it might be, right? Like all of this can really come back to the fact that there is an underlying attraction and magnetism, right? It's like when you're attracted to someone, you can't really put it into words. You're just like, I want to jump that person's bones, right? It's not because of any one thing. It's like it's their swagger, it's their energy, it's the way they hold themselves, it's their vibe, right? It's like the way that they carry themselves when they walk into a room or the way they look at you, right? Thousands of people have looked at you, but when that one person looks at you, you're like, "Oh my God, like I'm okay, I should be, somewhat clean on this podcast." But you know what I mean. So, really, your your frequency gets magnified when you're around other people that activate your frequency. So, me being in masterminds, talking about money, talking with other people, getting activated by other people, getting excited by other people, talking about coaching. Because the thing is, when you're in the coaching space, there is a lot that your friends and family don't necessarily understand unless they're also entrepreneurs, and not even entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs within the coaching space. It's such a very specific job. It's such a specific business to have. And talking about funnels and automations and systems and teams and integrators and online business managers and offers and Kajabi and ClickUp and Dubsado, it's like these things are all so specific to the coaching space that we need people to be able to talk to about these things. All right. Like our friends, as much as they love us and support us and are amazing, amazing humans, um, they're gonna be there's a certain level of understanding that they just don't have because they're just not in this business. And that's okay. We need friends who don't understand what the fuck is happening within our business so that we can take our brains off of our business, right? But sometimes we do need those friends and colleagues and biz besties that completely understand, like, yep, I totally get you. In my recent launch, I blah, 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 blah. Right. Like I have so many close friends that like a lot, like Asia and Nicole and Kat and like all of these people around me that are all doing very similar things to me. They're also launching, they also have their own businesses, they're also coaches. And we all get to, I share certain things, like I get to share my heart, and they understand me on that level. Right. And even my friends who don't have businesses in that same way, of course, they're still able to hold that space for me. But sometimes it hits different. So when you're in a mastermind with this group of other people that are all signed up to the mastermind, they might have different goals, right? It's not like you all have the same goals, but at the end of the day, like everyone wants to make more money. Everyone wants to make an impact. Everyone wants to grow their legacy, and they want to be more visible, right? They want to be hired. They want to expand themselves. They want to expand their growth. So when you're talking and having conversations on this high level about success and growth and expansion, you cannot help but to expand yourself. It's like it would be harder to not expand than to expand, right? Or sorry, it would be harder to expand than to not expand. It would be harder to wait. Did I say that right? Oh my gosh. I have the worst brain fog because I'm just getting over being sick. Why is this such a hard, this is like math. It is harder it's harder to not expand than to expand because expansion is natural. Expansion is a natural progression of being in alignment. So when you're in alignment with, let's say you find a partner, let's say, there's so many dating analogies because it just works so well. But when you find a partner who really, and I'm also manifesting this for 2024 for me, when you find a partner that you jive with so well, you naturally progress together. Of course, you have to work on the communication, learning how to love each other, learning how to, understand each other's needs and blah, 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 right? But naturally, it should feel somewhat effortless, right? From what I know and experience and conversations I've had, like when you find the person that you decide to be with, there is a level of it that's like, oh, this, yeah, of course I want to do this for this person. Oh yeah, of course, of course I want to, I want to take this next step with you. Like there's a certain level of effortlessness that's just like a, well, duh, of course you're my person, right? It's not like you have to drag yourself every single day to like, oh, guess I gotta wake up with this person. Guess I gotta go to sleep with this person. And you're like resisting it and resisting it. It's like, no, of course you want to spend your more time with this person. You love them. You love them so much that you naturally progress in your relationship with them. So it's the same thing with your business. When you are in alignment with what you're doing and what you're selling and the conversations you're having and the communities that you're in and the mentors that you invest in, you're naturally evolving. Even the investment itself. How many times? I've shared this so many times on the podcast. So many times I've just made the investment, just the investment. I haven't even gone into the curriculum. I haven't even gotten coached by the mentor. I haven't even met anyone else in the container. I literally just paid. I just paid. The money just left my bank account. And I'm already experiencing quantum growth. I'm already experiencing win after win after win. I remember the first time I invested in a 20K mastermind, I had a 30K day. That was insanity, complete insanity. And I did early enrollment for a magic mind or a mastermind this year, 2023, technically last year. And I invested, and I invested early, so that means I got access to the curriculum early and, some other things. And so it was a couple months before it actually started. And I made the money back before it even started. I literally 20K, 25K, I literally made it back within like I don't know. I think it was a couple weeks. So and I was on vacation because it was during the summer. Like I wasn't even selling and I ended up making the money back just because magnetically, energetically, when you are showing up in your business and you're investing from a place of alignment, when you're investing from this very solid place, you are naturally going to evolve and grow. You are naturally going to become a match for your desires. It becomes more effortless, right? So get a seat at the table. If that is the one thing you take away from this episode, is get it doesn't even have to be me. It just make sure it's someone you really, really align with. They're living at least somewhat of a lifestyle that you desire to have for yourself. So that way, you're able to resonate with what they're saying. Go and binge their content, go and watch their live videos, listen to their podcast episodes, get a feel for their style, their energy, their coaching. And if you keep coming back to a specific coach, just hire them. There's only so much that you can do with free content. Okay. Trust me, there's only so much you can do with free content. You want to, whether that is you need to budget it, you need to plan out for it, you need to save for it, you need to, whatever you need to do. That's not my business. I can only share what I've done is I've saved, I've budgeted, I've, borrowed money in the beginning in order to pay for coaches. And it has been the biggest game changer in my business because it has literally been a cheat code for me. I was able to access energy and belief and a level of showing up in my business that I was literally guided through by someone who believed so deeply in the work that I was doing. And that's one of the beautiful things that I honor, that I believe that my students get to access when they work with me, is I don't just see where they are, even when they're like spiraling and they're having a really bad time in their business or a really bad week, right? And they're questioning all of these things, like I'm able to give them the coaching that they most need from this place of not like just jumping in the pool with them the way a friend would, like, oh no, that sucks, oh no, I'm so sorry. Like of course I'm like, I'm so sorry, I love you, I'm giving you so much love, and at the same time, here is the coaching that is going to bring you out of this, because I love them so much and I see the vision for them. I'm not just jumping in and getting under the couch with them and getting under the blankets. Like I might do that for a couple moments, but then I'm also going to give you a really good kick in the pants. And I'm going to be like, hey, this is what we're doing next. And when you're ready, let's go. Right? Like process your emotions. And then this is what we're doing. Um, and I do that because I know that there is work to do. There is a movement to run. There is action to take, right? So as much as I am the deeply, highly sensitive empath and someone who's going to sit there and hold space for you and hold you and witness you and see you deeply, I'm also going to give you the kick in the pants you need to get up again when you're ready and be like, okay, let's fucking do this thing. All right. Number 4 is expanding your capacity for discomfort. Now, this is similar to number 2, managing your mind, but this is a little bit more focused on emotions. So, one of the biggest lessons I learned in 2023 was I had to get real comfortable, real cozy, really, really close knit with my most uncomfortable emotions and essentially my worst fears and my hardest triggers. It has been a ride. A ride. It has been a journey. My gosh, it's a lot. It is a lot. Getting intimate with discomfort and really uncomfortable emotions is not fun. It is just as uncomfortable and frustrating and painful as it sounds. Like I've dealt with rejection wounds. I've dealt, it's not just like, oh, I feel shame, when spending a whole launch hoping not to feel shame. It's just like there's so much disappointment that comes with running a business and doing launches and working with clients. It's like you have to really choose, like, how am I going to choose to believe? What am I going to choose to believe when shame shows up? Not if, when. When shame shows up, this is how I will choose to navigate it, right? Because here's the thing: the universe is just going to keep sending you more and more experiences that creates the shame because you're thinking about it, you're avoiding it, right? You're avoiding it so hard, it really shows up over and over again until we actually process it through. And the only way to process it is to feel it, is to go through it. That's the only way, right? Like just hardcore feeling it. Just feeling the shit out of it. Like, oh my God, it's rough. It's not easy. It is difficult. It is difficult to feel emotions that feel like ass. And yet it passes so much quicker when you let it just move through your body. And it gets to be an evolution of who you're becoming. Because here's the thing. When you are able to hold your deeper capacity for uncomfortable emotions, let's just take disappointment, for example. You're able to hold disappointment. You're also able to hold joy, abundance. You're able to receive wealth, celebration, happiness, ecstasy, right? There's so many beautiful things because it's the polarity of it. If you're not able to hold the most uncomfortable emotions, it's going to be really difficult to expand your capacity for the really joyful and celebratory emotions. Right. And you vice versa. You can't hold the celebratory emotions without holding the uncomfortable emotions. Like it has to be a little bit of both. It has to be the polarity of it. Right. So that's really important is don't shy away from the uncomfortable emotions. Feel it. Just sit and feel it. Just feel through it. It's going to feel so painful, but it's going to expand you deeply. I promise. So, going into 2024, when you experience uncomfortable emotions, lean into it. Don't run away from it. Don't try to suffocate it. Don't try to get rid of it. It's never going to go away. You're just going to create more of a tolerance for it, but it's not going to go away. And we don't want it to go away, right? Like I'm such a big feeler. I'm a 5-time Scorpio. I know all about death and rebirth and transformation. I I'm all about shifting identity and transforming into a different person every single week. I've always been this way. I've always been a really big feeler. I've always been a highly sensitive empath. I'm a open emotional center in human design. I feel so deeply. Not only that, I feel people's emotions in my body when I'm near them and they're experiencing lots of emotions. Um sometimes it's very overwhelming. So a lot of times being in big public crowds, I feel a lot of people's emotions and it can be quite overwhelming if I'm not grounding myself. So I'm a true empath. I feel people's emotions so much. I feel my own emotions so much. My friend from childhood used to tell me like everything you feel, everything that anyone else feels, you feel like 10 times more. And I'm like, yeah. Like if I'm happy, I'm so happy. I'm lit up. I'm joyful. I'm alive. Yes, yes, yes. It's like so good, right? I'm like riding the wave. And then when I'm sad, I'm so deeply sad. Like I feel that to the depths of sadness can possibly like if there is a if there is a capacity to hold sadness, I feel like I hold it and I experience it at the utmost length. Like I feel it if it's like at 100 and other people feel it at 20 or 30%, I feel it at 100% every single time. Like it hits me like a truck, like a Mack truck. And when I'm angry, which is not really an emotion. For me it's more so like disappointment, sometimes sadness. I don't really get angry. That's not really something I feel unless I know there is severe injustice. Injustice makes me extremely angry. I used to get so upset as a child when I know I didn't do something and yet I would get in trouble for it. And it wasn't even that I was getting in trouble. It was like, no, this isn't fair. There's injustice here. Like this is not right. I've protested Black Lives Matter, families being torn apart during the Trump administration, ICE coming in and trying to remove DACA students and deporting them, um, their abortion rights for women, um, school shootings for, young children. I've been to San Francisco City Hall. I've marched. I've done so much because injustice makes me so angry. I feel it so deeply to a point where I am willing to risk, you know, I'm willing to risk a lot by speaking up and being loud and not sacrificing that. So injustice is one of the things that makes me really angry, and I rarely get angry. But I also feel anger very, very deeply, which also means I feel anxiety and worry very, very deeply. And that came up a lot after I became a mom. And moms, if you're a mom, then the mom guilt and the mom anxiety when your kids are not around you or when there's just a lot to think about. Like I've also had to navigate that a lot. So that's been a really big lesson for me as an empath is I have so many deep emotions, and learning how to navigate that and ground that and process that and feel through that as a business owner, it's really been a challenge, but it's also been such a beautiful lesson for me. I don't know that anything else would have taught me this other than motherhood and entrepreneurship. And the fact that I'm experiencing both at the same time with a very young child and a business that is still, growing in its kind of growth stages, it's a very interesting dynamic. Um, and it's one that I'm really grateful for because I don't think I would be the person I am and the person I'm becoming without these lessons, and I'm taking them very seriously. I'm getting the work, I'm getting the healing, I'm getting coached, I'm opening up, I'm being vulnerable. And I love taking you all along for this ride because I don't think there's any other way for me to do it. So, yeah. Also great, opportunity to share. If you're really enjoying this podcast, it just means so much to me. If you leave a review or if you send me a DM, share it on your stories, just so we can pay it forward. Other people can also get access to these lessons and these stories and this podcast. It means so much, not only to me, but to the people that I'm meant to serve in the Conscious Collective. And that's really powerful work. That is essentially why I do what I do. All right. So the fifth lesson is sustainable and joyful processes, and in loving the process and in the way of growing my business. So two of the biggest themes of Magic Mind is sustainable and joyful because they've been really big themes in my business, right? I don't want it if it's not sustainable, and I don't want it if it's not joyful. If it's an instant win or it's something that feels really, really painful, I don't I don't want it, right? And of course, I just talked about processing emotions, important emotions. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about if you're going to get it, but you have to hustle yourself into the ground and push yourself and do something that feels wrong or feels outside of your comfort zone in a bad way, or feels like it's not aligned to your values, then it's not aligned for you, right? That's very different than, oh, something didn't go your way, you didn't hit a goal, and now you feel disappointed and you have to process that disappointment. That's very different than, you feel like you have to show up as a different version of you in order to make sales, right? So doing sales, being a salesperson, attracting sales, I always want it to be rooted in sustainability and joyfulness. So it's about loving the process. It's about the climb. Yes, Miley Cyrus is the climb. It's like truly, truly about falling in love with the process while you're creating it, or else the result isn't going to feel as joyful, right? Like I want to love every single minute I get to my first million, right? I'm very close. I'm in the 900K range, and I want to love it. I don't want to rush it. I don't want it to come like 1 second earlier. I want it to feel like it is this beautiful, steady climb and growth, because I know when I get there, I'll be able to look back and be like, wow, I did that. Like I felt all the pain. I felt the frustration. I felt the discouragement. I felt the pain of clients leaving and employees leaving. And I felt all of that. I held all of that in my body. And so when I got to the finish line, when I got to the results and I hit $1 million in total sales revenue, I will know like this is something that I have created. This is something that I get to own wholeheartedly, 100%. It is me. It is me. It is me. So that's something that is extremely important to me, is just falling in love with the process and loving how I'm doing it, right? Because like here's the thing, you're going to hit these milestones. Like it's inevitable, right? After a certain point, like it's inevitable. You know that your business is growing, you know that you're going to hit certain milestones, you're going to achieve certain things, and it can be very like monotonous, very like robotic. Like, okay, I did this, now I have to do this. Okay, I hit six figures now. Okay, 200K. Okay, 300K. Oh, okay, 400. It's like it could become such like, oh, just go with the motions. Okay, no celebration, just move on to the next thing. Like, you don't want to live your life that way, right? You want to celebrate and really hold space for the beauty of what you're creating every single moment, right? I don't want to just get to the finish line and celebrate the finish line. I want to celebrate everything I did to get to that finish line, because that's really what it is. Like the finish line is just that last 10%. It's like that last little hustle, right? But I want to celebrate looking back and going, oh my gosh, I did this. I was tested here. I went through this. I experienced that. I got through this. I learned a huge lesson here. I had a growth moment there. Like I want to be able to look back and be like, wow, I persevered and I was resilient this entire time. And every single time I got knocked down, I got back up and I got back up and I got back up. And again, I got back up. And even there, I got back up. And even then, I got back up. And even over here, I got back up. I got back up over and over and over when other people would throw in the towel and leave and say, fuck this. What am I doing here? This is so hard. This is so painful. I got back up and I kept going. I just kept going. That is what I want to feel when I get to the finish line and when I get to the end of the milestone. Because here's the thing, there's always going to be another milestone. So if you're not loving the way you're doing it, the doing it is 99% of the time. There is 1% of the time where you're going to celebrate a new milestone and you're going to hold space for that. And hopefully you continue to be in a culture of celebration over and over and over again. And you don't just celebrate that one time. You continue to celebrate. But most of the time we're pushing towards something because we're ambitious. That's the reason why we're entrepreneurs, right? We're moving towards something, we're pushing towards something. So you have to love the way you're doing. You have to love the way you are a leader as the CEO of your business. You have to love the way that you are talking about your offer. You have to love the shit out of your offer, or don't sell it. You have to love your clients and love the work you do with your clients, right? It is not just about getting to the end and getting to the end of that puzzle piece and the milestone. It's everything you're doing in between. You got to love all of it. All right. You have to fall in love with it. You have to love the process when you're creating it, not just afterwards, not just, oh, I'll be happy when this is done. I'll be happy when I get there. No, you want to be joyful now, or else you're going to get to the end and be, wait, why am I not happy? I thought this was going to bring me happiness. No, you have to embody the joy, embody the celebration, embody the version of you that already has it now. Now, I don't know how long in my head I've been a seven-figure earner. I have to literally correct myself sometimes because I'm not technically there yet and I don't want to mislead anyone. But in my head, my identity, my mindset is a seven-figure earner. I am a seven-figure earner, right? And so that is how strongly you have to believe that. You have to like double check yourself and be like, oh, wait a second, not actually there yet. That's how strongly your belief needs to be rooted. Okay. All right. Number 6 of my 2023 lessons was I had to reconnect with my witchy spell casting, spiritual rituals and practices when I fell off for a moment. Just thinking that, like, similar to when I was in my very vulnerable episode 2 episodes ago, talking about my almost failed mastermind launch. I just thought it was kind of done and it was just kind of like in a good place. Like, I don't know, this is maybe an ADHD thing that this keeps coming up for me, right? Where it's like a really big lesson that I'm learning. But I really had to like reconnect with my witchy side. I thought like, because when I first learned about it and when I first had my spiritual awakenings and I learned about manifestation, I was so diligent. I was like so happy. I would do it every day. I would like write out. I had all these practices. I would like actually cast, these spells. I would sit and be in ritual with myself. And, I would just hold these like ceremony like solo sessions and time with me. I was so excited to like buy crystals and to pull cards, and like it was all so new to me, and it was all so like exciting and fun, especially because I had such a religious upbringing and it was very toxic in a lot of ways. It was very restrictive where I was taught that a lot of this was just like demonic, and which is just fucking bullshit. That's for another episode. But yeah, I had a very religious upbringing. So when I left the church and when I left Christianity, I stepped into this world of like the occult and the witchy practices and being a witch and calling myself a witch. And it was so new. And then after a while, it was just like, okay, this is just who I am. Like, this is just who I am now. Um, and there are a lot of things I still continue doing, a lot. But there were some things that I just kind of like assumed would just like roll over, right? Like credits that I thought would just roll over into the next month. Like, no, I still have to keep that up. No one's gonna do that shit for me. That's not something I can delegate, right? So I had to reconnect with a lot of my witchy side. And I got really caught up in like the masculine, which is beautiful. That's also one of my biggest themes for 2024 is stepping deeper into my masculine and in my healthy masculine, building out my team more, just creating more structures in my business. And just, yeah, there's a lot that I'm building in terms of like systems and expanding while I'm scaling. Um, but because the masculine and the action can feel so, it can be such it's the right word, not necessarily repetitive, but sometimes it can feel very lackluster. I think that's the right word for it. Lackluster, not very magical, not very like sparkly, right? And so I get caught up in a lot of that, and then I almost, forget, not really, but a little bit, like forget about the witchy side that I built this foundation upon, right? Like I am a business witch, and that's something that I take very seriously, and also not sometimes because it's just kind of fun and it's airy fairy and it's the energetics, but it's also a serious part of how I build my business. It's both, it's like fun and loose and, just kind of who I am. And it's also, oh, this is actually a part of my business strategy is my witchiness and my practices. Um, and so that's something I reconnected with this year, or technically in 2023. It was like I thought everything was just set in stone. Like I had just done it, like it had been done. I went through so many spiritual awakenings. I, met with my spirit guides. It was just like it's done. But there's a lot that I've just kind of created into normal patterns, like the way I speak to my spirit guides in the universe and call them in and call in support, the way I bless everything. I believe everything's alive, right? So like a lot of it has just become the way I live my life. But I think there's a difference between like going through the motions of my spiritual practices and being really intentional about it. And I want to be a lot more intentional about my spiritual practices and going to getting Reiki, right? Having Reiki sessions, going to spiritual events, meeting new people, creating specific rituals for full moon, new moon, talking more about that, right? I used to talk about that a lot, because it was so new, so exciting, and then it just became something that I did. So just bringing like an aliveness, a devotion, like a renewal of vows almost to my spiritual practice and to my witchy self. So that's a big lesson for me was, that was a big part of my success was really tapping into my magic deeply, my manifestation practices, keeping these practices up and running and alive. And so that's something I'm going to be bringing back in 2024 that I'm reconnecting with in a very, very, very deep way and allowing my identity to shift into who I'm designed to be for this year. Yeah. So those are my biggest biggest lessons. And it's funny that it's ending on 7 because 2023 was a 7 year and 2024 is an 8 year. So if you add up the numbers, it's 7 in numerology. The seventh lesson is shift out of what you've outgrown. I feel like for so many of us, 2023 brought up awakening. We awoken, if that's a word. We awakened, awoken. We awoke, we woke up, let's just say that, from friendships, offers, business practices, strategies, people, patterns, identities, things, experiences, environments, things that no longer serve us. We physically, energetically cannot carry them into 2024. Like there's just no way. Like we just can't do it, right? It's just not, we can't even, it's like it's not even able to fit through the door, right? Like there are things that we've outgrown. Like let the cocoon fall. Let the cocoon fall away. Don't try to stay in the cocoon as a butterfly. You are the butterfly now. You are the butterfly. Break into the fucking butterfly and let the cocoon fall away. There is a really big personal change that's happened in me and Alaska's life in 2023. I'm not going to share about it on this episode. I will likely share it on the podcast at some point when I feel comfortable and ready. But it was a huge, I'm in my Saturn return. It has to do with karmic relationship cycles and it brought up emotions of pain, betrayal, and it was a really painful, when I first heard about it, it was very, very painful for me. It was like a true, um, it was like a true heartbreak. So all in all, that was a decision that not a decision, that was an experience that really shifted so many things for me in my personal life. And I had to come to terms with karmic cycles and patterns and identities that I had held on to for way too long that really needed to be shed. And when something is coming up for you that needs to be shed, shed it, shed it, baby. Like it needs to be gone immediately. I also released a lot of friends this year. Um, where we just weren't growing in the same direction. I was feeling really, it was like going through the motions. It wasn't bringing anything to me where I felt like I was doing a lot of the value giving in a relationship and I wasn't being heard or held or understood or supported in the way that I deserved, in the way that I was in my other friendships. At the same time, I got way closer with some of my closest friends, with my best friends, and that was something that is such a blessing. So the this last number 7, this last lesson is if you're outgrowing something, if you've outgrown something and you know it, please honor it. Please, please, please honor it. Okay. Don't bring something into the year that you know is done. If you're in a relationship that you know you don't see a future with this person, let them go. It is in the best alignment for them as well. It is in the highest good for all of you, right? Everyone involved, including your future partner, their future partner. Like I always like to say, what is in alignment for you is in alignment for everyone around you. So when you allow yourself to be the most authentic version of you, when you allow yourself to be honest with yourself about desires and who you are and what you want to be, like it truly is a abundant service to everybody around you. Because then you're shifting into the highest frequency, which is truth, which is authenticity, which is you being you. And it allows the people around you to shift into who they need to become to. And they might not always see that or understand that, right? Like I believe in soul contracts. I believe that people come into our lives for specific reasons. And then once the contract is over, it's over. It's over, right? There's no use trying to extend something that's over. It's over. It's done. So we have to be the ones to let go, cut cords, do a cord cutting ritual, let them go. And I am able to say this because I struggled with this for so long, not just with friends, but in my relationships and with like family. It's difficult. It's hard. It's so hard, especially when we're empaths and we're so sensitive, we're so loving, we're taught to be people pleasers. This goes against everything that we were ever taught. But if there's something that you have outgrown, whether it is a friend, a partner, something in your business, an employee, an offer, a platform, there's so many things. If you've outgrown it, let it go and let something more amazing, more aligned take its place. I promise that it's coming your way right now. All right. Those are my biggest lessons. Those are the things that I want to impart onto you as we start 2024. I hope that 2024 is the most joyful, prosperous, abundant year yet. And I just know we have so much in store for us. I heard from the astrology girlies that it's supposed to be pretty calm astrologically. I heard that 2023 was more of a growth year, and 2024 smells like expansion, it smells like abundance, smells like money. So I'm really excited to see the students and the clients that I bring into my world this year, and also just who joins my community in general. If you are feeling called to work with me and have my support in 2024, please reach out, send me a DM. Let's talk. Let's just get to know each other a little bit so I can guide you towards one of my offers and see what is going to fit you the best so I can give you the best support and tailored coaching, tailored guidance in your business or aspiring business. So if you're feeling that nudge, if you even just want to explore that a little bit, just DM me. We'll have a conversation. And yeah, we'll go from there. Magic Mind Mastermind is opening for enrollment February 12 to 16. That is the official enrollment. It is not enrolling anytime again after that. We start in May and the enrollment is in February. All right. So make sure you mark your calendar. The waitlist link is in the show notes if you want to be a part of the waitlist. And yeah, it's going to be an incredible round. We have a live event that we're doing in April in the Bay Area. It's going to be 6 months of business coaching. You get content review, sales call, launch, and masterclass reviews. You get personalized hot seat coaching every week except for the last week of every month for 6 months straight. We do focus group calls. We have a daily Slack support channel where you can get support and guidance anytime you need. The peer coaching is off the charts. It's an incredible community to plug into, especially if you're growing into 6 figures and multi 6 figures, and really just getting the support you need to expand not just your business, your offers, your sales structure, your marketing plan, but also the energetics, the mindset, the way that you show up in your business, the way you think, the way that you show up as an identity, as a person who's leading a movement. Magic Mind is for those serious business owners that are ready to be in a high level container, ready to invest in their business. This is a 10K investment. Payment plans are available. So if that sounds like you, join the waitlist in the show notes and make sure you're in that list to get more information. And if you are just starting out or just learning to navigate sales and marketing, then Business Activation Academy is my foundational program that is going to be a better fit for you if you are looking to book your first clients, if you're looking to get into coaching for the first time, if you are looking to sell your very first offer and learn how to design it, learn how to work with clients, and really tap into your own energetics and your own magic for the first time, BAA is the most supportive, amazing, incredible community for that, for you to grow. And I coach in it twice a month, every single month, and you get lifetime access to not only the coaching, but the course portal. So those are the two main ways of working with me in 2024. I'm also opening up some one-on-one spots. So if you're ready for a premium investment, you're ready for me to mentor you very closely and get my highest level of support, then one-on-one is for a very select person who is ready for that investment and that commitment. So if that sounds like you, reach out to me, DM me, and we will chat if there are still spots available. All right. I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to my podcast in 2023. Whether you just found it recently or you've been listening for a while, I adore you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you being a part of the community. And I'm really excited to share some updates that are coming to the podcast in 2024. All good updates, good upgrades, and to just continue growing with you in my community. So thank you for being a part of my world in 2023. And I'm excited to tackle 2024 together with heart and alignment and so much expansion. All right. I love you all, and I'll catch you in the next episode. And before you go, I am hosting a 2024 Death and Rebirth Manifestation Workshop on January 11th. So on 1/11, we will have a 2-hour live workshop on Zoom, really focusing on your expansion in 2024. We're focusing on releasing anything that no longer serves you, any identities, patterns, energies that are no longer a fit, no longer aligned, no longer serve you as you're shifting into your 2024 self. You are connecting to your truest self. You are connecting to the version of you that is the most successful, that has created the most expansive 2024. And this workshop is going to seal in your intentions for the new year on the first new moon. This is a new moon in Capricorn, which is very, very aligned. So we're going to cast spells for your year from a place of purpose in order to call in the most abundant 2024. So if you're joining us, you are receiving the group Reiki, meditation, visualization, 2-hour training by me, and also access to a private Voxer group chat for guidance and coaching leading up to the workshop, including a vision board process that we are doing together. I'm really excited to hold space for your expansion as we move into a new calendar year. So if this feels aligned to you, to release, to rebirth, to step into your newest and most potent identity on the new moon in 2024 together on January 11th, you can click the link in the show notes to read more about expansion and join us before the price goes up. All right, I'll see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.